When you start hearing about people driving from Alaska, really long distances, you're like, really? Wow. But the things that they do, I think probably amaze me more. It's just, you don't get to ride in the car with them from Alaska and see how far they've driven, so you're sitting there going, okay, yeah, that's a long way. But when you see, the way they're dressed, or, maybe their motorhome or their bus is painted up like my race car, or tattoos, on their body. Those types of things blow me away.
Well, Jimmy just told one where he found somebody he met, and he saw him the next time he saw him, he'd gotten a tattoo of his signature.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that one happen?
Well, my deal is the only way I'm going to sign skin is if you are going to get a tattoo. And I actually think there's a gentleman here today that I think I saw on Twitter who has gone above and beyond when it comes to tattoos. And actually, there's something about the Hall of Fame with him. When I was here in January, when we did, the big, what do we call the event to kick off the season?
The preview, and then we unveiled the 20th anniversary of the new one.
One of my biggest fans who had like 2 or 3 I'm not encouraging anybody to get tattoos, I'm just saying that, because I have none. All right, and so what blows me away is that I'm definitely afraid of needles. So if you're going to actually go through the hours and hours of going through this pain to support me, I appreciate it. But yeah, so she had like 3 different cars on her back and trophies and 24 flags. That one's pretty over the top, pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool. Let's take questions from the audience here. I know we've got a lot. The 4-time champion, Jeff Ford.
Hi, Jeff Ford. My name is Jenny Gates, and it's not necessarily a question. It's a thank you to you for the good person that you are, as an example for our kids on a regular basis.
Thank you.
And that you do set a standard, and this is for your daughter, an artist.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I try. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect, and nobody is, and I make mistakes. But I try to put a lot of effort into it to be not only the best race car driver I can be, but the best dad I can be, as well as giving back. I've been so blessed. I've been given this amazing opportunity that I never dreamed would get to this level. And so, I have to remind myself just how hard and how bad I wanted, how hard I had to work. And now the payoff was that I get to go do great things for kids that are sick. I get to, provide for my family in a way that I never expected. And, even today is a debrief day. So we go to Hendrick Motorsports and debrief with the team and talk about the race. On Sunday, talk about this coming up race. And I get so excited about that. It's so cool to talk about things that we're doing, how we're going to go and win a race, even if we don't. So I try, and it means a lot to me when fans, recognize that, and so thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, Jeff. Of the last 4 races left this season, what's your best chance of getting into victory lane?
It's coming up Sunday. The stats speak for themselves, but more importantly, Martinsville's a track that has changed the least. From how you drive it, how you set the car up, tires, all the things that go into making the car competitive week in and week out. Those things have changed the least amount at Martinsville. So old guy like me, been around the series for 20 years, you want things to stay the same. And so I do the same things today as I did 15 years ago at Martinsville. Yeah, we're going faster, cars are slightly different, but the least amount when you compare it to, say, Charlotte. Aerodynamics are everything, and the attitude of that car, we have to do some pretty wacky things. Now, one day, here in the Hall of Fame, Winston's going to have a display that shows what the cars were doing in 2012. The reason I say one day is because none of the crew chiefs are going to allow you to have those parts and pieces and things today. Exactly. But there will be a day. And it might be next year because they're going to be obsolete, all these crazy things that are within the rules. It's just, you see them talk about these cars running skewed and sideways down the straightaway to have more downforce in the corners. and they're going to take a lot of that away for next year's cars, thank goodness. You know, the way things evolve on these other tracks because of aerodynamics, those have not really come into play at Martinsville near as much. So, like I said, the things that I do every time we're there, change the lead so I can get consistent, get in my rhythm, and still have, you know, the kind of results that we've had over the years. So it's one of the reasons I love Martinsville so much, and I think we got an excellent shot based on how we ran earlier this season to win this weekend.
Hi, Jack. My name's Mike. We'll say everything is going good. You're on a racetrack, could be any racetrack. Your car's running good. You got plenty of gas. There's about 2 or 3 laps to go. Who would be the one driver in your rear view mirror that you would not want to see?
Clint Boyer would be one of them, just because of what happened last time we were in Martinsville. But if I go back through history, you never wanted Earnhardt Sr. to be within striking distance of you. Sometimes he'd hit you just for fun. You know, he might not even be racing him. He might have been having a bad day, something happened, and he was, 10, 20 laps down, and he'd just run into you just because he thought that'd be fun and entertaining. And then we laughed about it afterwards. But, if you were racing for the win, it was almost guaranteed that he'd do whatever it took to win. And I respect that, I respect, and I love racing with Dale. If you beat him, then you were really doing something. And when you got beat by him, you got beat by the best. So I'd have to say
Right down front here.
Have you ever had your car on fire?
Have you ever had your car on fire?
Oh my, on a couple of occasions, I've been pretty fortunate as far as fires go. Let's see, one time we were testing in Atlanta, and somebody left the fuel on, and I was running, and the car wasn't running right, and back to the carburetors, way back to the carburetors. And all of a sudden, flames started coming through the firewall, under the windshield, and it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the time I got to pit road. And so that was not much of a fire. But the biggest one I ever had in a cup car was at North Wilkesboro. I think I was racing with Hutch Strickland. We made contact on lap 1 and cut a brake line. I went down into turn 1. The car spun right around and back in the wall. So a full tank of fuel came gushing out as I hit the wall. And all I remember, it wasn't a hard hit, it was a pretty soft hit, but all I remember is fire coming shooting in the window, and it got hot really quick. And I was thinking, I need to get out of here as fast as I can. It was just a flash fire, but it was hot, and then it just went away. I had one other fire in the midget years ago, methanol fire, same thing, you left the fuel on. The problem is the fuel pump is between the legs in those cars, and so it was getting really hot. I was on dirt, I had tear offs, and the only reason that I knew that I was on fire was because the tear off started to melt. And I knew it was hot, but it was no big deal. I had gloves on, thick uniform, and when those things started to melt, I knew I needed to slow down or stop and get out of the thing. And it was on fire pretty good. And methanol fire, you couldn't see the flame, so it's a clear flame, and so you have no idea, it's just the heat. And so that was pretty scary. That was probably one of the only times I had to get out of the car really fast and had burns all over me.
Uniform?
Not on my body, just in the uniform. Let me clarify that.
Just sort of back to the design of the fuel pump between the driver's side. That's a whole different story.
Open wheel racing is designed for a lot of different things. And I realized pretty early on that, the smartest drivers aren't driving open wheel cars, or race cars in general.
Back here.
Hey, Jeff, Sprint Cup Championship or Daytona 500 win, which one means more to the driver?
Oh, man. I think the championship, I think the ultimate achievement in our sport is the championship. And I think that, yes, Daytona is the biggest race to win, and there's no doubt everybody wants to have that on their resume. But if you had to choose between the two, I'd take the championship, especially since the restrictor plates came around. You know, it's a little bit different winning at Daytona with a restrictor plate than it used to be back in the day before there was guys sending out, you know, qualifying. And that was getting done right there.
Cody, I have a question for you. Where's your favorite place to race?
Probably Bristol. I love Bristol. It's just such a cool track. You know, I love the whole experience of Bristol. You know, when I get to the track, I can't wait when there's no cars there. And I try to do it every time at Bristol. And it's the only track I do this with on the circuit. Is I'll walk over to the track because we don't stand infield there. We're in a lot outside the racetrack, and I'll walk over to the track. And I'll walk the track, and just, you know, take in the whole surroundings. The place is just so cool, and then when you get to drive it, it's fast, and the cars sliding around. It's a really fun place to drive, as well as if I were a fan for that day and could go to a race, that's one I would want to watch.
During the off-season, do you have any activities opposite of racing that you do for fun? I mean, something that's not so full of adrenaline?
Well, it depends on what you consider, you know. I think keeping up with a 5 and a 2-year-old is full of adrenaline. So it drains my adrenaline. You know, when I'm not racing, and even for a couple of days, not on a Tuesday, but Monday and Wednesday, that's like my weekend. So every week, I'm as far away from racing as you possibly can. That's because my kids, you know, in my life at home, you know, those are days that I don't look at my phone and you know, I don't talk on the phone about racing or business, and so it's just all about, you know, my family. But during the off season, obviously, you have a little bit more time to go and get away. So you will usually find me on a beach somewhere, giving tame tassels and getting out in the waves and hanging out, you know, with the family. I'm not an adrenaline junkie, to be honest. That's not why I got into racing. You know, would I like to jump out of an airplane and parachute one day? Yes, but I haven't. But I would say I'd like to, and thought that would be pretty cool, but I haven't done it. So, you know, most of what I do when I'm not racing is go slow.
Jeff, what is your most memorable or unusual experience with the Nascar Fame?
I mean, I don't remember which racetrack it was at. I remember walking down pit road and went over to a gentleman was wanting my autograph, and I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. And he pulled his leg off, you know, like it was a prosthetic, and so he pulled it off and handed it to me, and it had my car on it in this place. You know, I'm not sure how they do it, and it was really cool. And at first I was just shocked. Pulled his leg off. I didn't expect that to be the thing that he was going to want an autograph. And then I was blown away at the detail of the things that they can do now with these prosthetics and you know, put my car and the number 24, my signature, in you know, the I don't know, the outer casing of the leg. It's very cool. So that was hands-on.
Hey, Jeff, my name is Nascar of Fame, what was the worst crash you ever had in NASCAR history?
I don't remember. My worst crash? It'd be between a couple. I mean, Pocono was probably one of the worst wrecks that I ever had, but I feel like I got really lucky in that one. Because all throughout my career, running at Pocono, I always said, man, I hope I never have a brake problem or a stuck throttle going into turn 1 at Pocono. And that day came. I don't remember what year it was. that I really don't remember. But I went down into one. We'd been having some brake problems that day. I knew I was overheating on it, a little vibration. I didn't know how severe it was. And went down in turn one, and the brake rotor exploded on the right front, and the brake pedal slipped straight to the floor, no brakes. And all I could think of was, how do I get this thing slowed down? I threw it into first gear so that it would just start slowing the car. And of course, it broke the transmission, the engine, everything else. But it did start hopping and slowing the car down. But it also spun it sideways and turned it into the infield, which at that time I didn't realize, but it was grass with a big mound. And I hit that, and the whole car went airborne. All I was looking at was the sky. So I didn't know if I was going to be upside down, like flip upside down. But I saw the sky, and I said, okay, well, at least it's slowing down somewhat. And then it hit the track and spun around, and I hit driver's side, into the turn one wall. And the impact was pretty big, but I was sitting there amazed that I was still awake. So I actually got really lucky because it could have been really, really nasty. The one problem that I have that wreck is like, I think most race car drivers would say, if you're going to wreck really spectacularly, like David Rubin did in this car, one of the most spectacular wrecks I've ever seen in my life. For him to walk away was amazing. You want it to be caught on video. You want to make sure that it makes the highlight reel. And unfortunately, that day at Pocono, I walked away, but it didn't make the highlight reel because nobody really had any video. They had some in-car kind of, they showed me go through the dirt. That was about it. So that was a shame. But the only injury that I really had from a wreck is at Texas. I wrecked a blue wreck for Tire, Texas. You never want to blow a right front tire in Texas, and hit the wall pretty hard. I had some bruised ribs, and luckily I had a weekend off after that because I wouldn't have been able to race the next week. I was hurting really bad, and I made it to Bristol 2 weeks later, and thankfully still today haven't missed a race throughout my career.
Right back here.
Got another one after you got time for a couple
Hi,
more.
Jeff. My name's Olivia Mattioli. More on the bright side of racing at Pocono. What was it like to win there this past August?
Oh, that win still, I know it wasn't like the most spectacular way I've ever won a race before. I like to pull into victory lane knowing I just kicked some real serious butt and left everybody in my dust. And in that particular day, I won because all the rest of the guys had issues, and we came through the race cleanly. But what stands out with why I love that win so much is because it's the only race that I've ever won where I had Ella, Leo, and Ingrid there to celebrate. And especially Ella being old enough, to understand what it's all about. That was a very emotional as well as very exciting day for us as a family.
I've been a fan ever since you came on the scene in '92, and I know a lot of people ask you what's your favorite moment in NASCAR, but I'd like to tell you, Mom. Okay. And that was in '95 when you beat Dale Earnhardt for the championship, and you toasted him with a glass of milk.
I remember that.
He stood up for man during that, and that was a special moment. And you would be a world-class driver. And it would stay with it, and I appreciate all the memories you have given me and all those things. 20 years of racing, you got a beautiful family, and you're a good man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You had a lot better relationship with Earnhardt than some folks thought. I mean, he kind of needled everybody.
He did. I got a couple stories. I mean, I was one of the reason why I coached Milk is because he was giving me such a hard time. We were playing some head games earlier and called me Wonder Boy, but he said, I don't know what they're going to serve at the banquet if he wins. I guess they're going to have to serve milk. So I decided that let's have some fun with him. And I had so much respect for him. I still couldn't even believe I won the championship and was up against him and won. Dale didn't get beat for many championships. And so we had to have some fun, which was fantastic. Dale and I were racing at Pocono one year, and came off the tunnel turn. I was a little bit better than him, and probably 10 laps to go in the race, maybe 5 laps to go. And we were racing on 5 or 6, and I got underneath him, got by him, but in Dale fashion, he did kind of the crossover, but instead of doing the crossover, he just went straight to my rear bumper and pushed me all the way down that little short back straightaway. And he's pushing me, this time to let off the gas, and he's still pushing me. And I'm thinking, he's going to wreck me, he's going to wreck both of us. So finally I checked up and got all sideways, went up the track, and he almost wrecked, you know, and we almost both wrecked. And so went on. Well, we were at Indianapolis a month or two later after that. Somebody brought me a photo, an awesome photo. Looking at my car, I'm completely crossed up, my hands over here, car sideways. You couldn't even see Dale's car, but you could see through my car and see into his windshield and kind of see him. It's a great photo.
Wow.
And they gave it to me at the test in Indianapolis, and I immediately picked up that photo, and I went right over to Dale's hauler and walked up into his trailer, and I said, I've never asked you to autograph anything for me, but you were going to sign this. And I laid it down there. He goes, wow, you really lose. and we had, you know, a fun little back and forth about why I was really loose and how dumb that was for him to get me so loose because he got wrecked himself. And then we laughed about it because we both made it through okay. And, you know, and that was the kind of relationship that Dale and I had. You know, there's times he put his arm around me and give me some advice. There's other times he puts his arm around me and you congratulate me, you know, on a good job. And there's other times he offered up business advice, which I put my arm around him later and said thank you. So, you know, and Dale was, you know, you can go back to Rusty and so many others. They were buddies, but he didn't mind knocking them out of his way for the win, the race. And that was, you know, kind of relationship most people had with Dale if they were friends with him. And so I really, you know, think back to those times and how much how many great moments that I had with him and how he was so good to me.
Let's let Taylor, our special guest, have the last question.
All right.
Jeff, what is your favorite car to drive?
What is your favorite car to drive? Race car and personal car?
Yeah, let's see. Well, a winning car is my favorite car to drive. One that pulls into victory lane and gets the trophy. That's my favorite. But you know what? I think driving a winged sprint car throughout the years on dirt tracks, sliding it sideways, has always been one of my, you know, looking back, is always one of my favorite things to do. And even though I had a lot more success in the Cup Series, I still had a lot of fun driving those cars. Street car wise, and it just pops in my mind because recently I got an opportunity to get serial number 24 of new Camaro ZL1. And so normally on that kind of car, I just put it in a warehouse and save it and collect it. And I don't know, maybe Leo or Ella get to drive one day. But this thing's so much fun, I can't stop driving it. So it's been at my house, and you know, every chance I get, I get in. It's got incredible torque, paddle shift, and it just, man, that thing will get up and go. So, and it's a great looking car. I think Chevrolet did a great job with that car. So a lot of fun with that.
Jeff, reiterating what several of the fans said, thanks for everything that you do. Best of luck this week in the Martinsville, the rest of the season. Four-time champion, Jeff Porter.
Thank you, guys, very much.